Hi students, hope you all are fine. In the last day, we have discussed about the first portions of our first lesson from geography, that is resources and development, where we have discussed about the types of resources, classifications of resources, etc. Here we are coming to the second portion of our chapter, that is development of resources. We all know that resources are very important for human life. Not only for human, every type of development of a nation is possible only when resources are available. So, as we are human, here we will be having a tendency to utilize the available resources into its maximum. But in future, while we are using them without having any ideas, what happens? That is what we have to discuss from this lesson. Today's class gives you details about the problems that the development of a nation faces when these available resources are utilizing by human in its maximum level. We have 3 points to discuss here. That is, the common question come from this portion is that indiscriminate use of resources leads to problems. Discuss. This is the question that we are finding most commonly in the question paper. So let us discuss its answer now. The first point is depletion of resources happen whenever we are using them for our different uses. That is, as we are human being, we are always hoping for our own development. Most commonly, without taking care about whether the available resource is renewable or non-renewable. So, if we are utilizing these non-renewable resources maximum, that leads to depletion of resources for satisfying our needs. The another problem that also faces while we are utilizing these resources maximum is accumulation of resources in few hands. That leads to two groups of people to origin in the society, that is haves and have-nots.
World population is expected to reach about 9 billion by 2050. ,86% of this, in other words almost 8 billion people, will be in the developing world. The thing is, the actual number of people is not in itself an issue, except in some very densely settled countries. In fact, you could fit the entire population of the world into the state of Texas, although not very comfortably. In world population terms, what really matters is a simple ratio, 32 to 1. It represents consumption, and this is where our problems begin. The average rates at which we consume resources, such as oil and metals, and produce waste, like plastic and greenhouse gases, are about 32 times higher in North America, Western Europe, Japan and Australia than they are in the developing world. 32 to 1 captures the difference in consumption between the first world and the third world. This little ratio has huge consequences. Let me explain. The estimated 1 billion people who live in the developed world have a relative per capita consumption rate of 32. Most of the world's other 5.5 billion people in the developing world have a rate well below 32, mostly near to 1. This means that with 10 times the population, the United States consumes 320 times more resources than, for example, Kenya does. The poor of the world logically want to have our standards of living. But the fact is that the planet simply does not have sufficient resources to support such a dream. And so, we're left with a fundamental problem.
Those who are having all technologies or all ideas about how to utilize these resources maximum will become haves, or they will become rich, and others will become poor. That is another problem that faces when resources are utilizing into its maximum level without care. And the another problem is indiscriminate use of resources leads to ecological imbalances such as global warming, ozone layer depletion, environmental imbalancing, pollutions of every type, etc. happens when available natural resources are utilizing without care. So it is important to care them and also to minimize its uses. So friends, let us conclude our class today. We have discussed a lot of matters about that chapter now. We will continue the remaining portions in the next sessions. So study well, prepare your notes. Keep watching. Thank you.